promote human rights and emphasize that the government is a partner in the fight against abuse of human rights.
I was assured that the thinking amongst you is the same thinking that I'm talking about. That's good news. Let us work together for the protection and promotion of human rights in the country. How come I never received a briefing in cabinet about the International Human Rights Defenders Day? Who should have done it? It can only be done by a minister.
Olaba reporter ekolebwa ekitongole ky'eddembe ly'obuntu nga tekitongole kya gavumenti kibayita Uganda Human Rights Commission. Polisi ndoza ekyasinze okutongola eddembe ly'obuntu mu Uganda. Kyabanaamaga nti abangi ne bweba polisi erina n'amateeka kuba polisi erina ne polisi gye bayita Human Rights Policy okulaba nti buli bwe baba bakola emirimu gyabwe tebatoobola ddembe ly'obuntu.
This year's International Human Rights Defenders has been marked under a theme reinforcing the protection and promotion of HRDs and their work.
Thanks for joining us on Bethany News at the top of the hour. Chinto Mutesa Sirasina is my name. Enjoy your weekend.
Bethany News. Bethany TV for health. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled to introduce Bethany Santa Omugabi, who will be sharing wonderful goodies with you this Christmas season. Getting a chance to meet Bethany Santa Omugabi is easy. Just tune into Bethany TV and get to know our various programs and talented presenters. Bethany Santa Omugabi will make surprise appearances during our live programs and offer Christmas hampers filled with an assortment of goodies, including healthy food items. When you spot Bethany Santa Omugabi during any of our programs, be the first to call in and say, "Hello, Bethany Santa Omugabi. I am your Christmas date." He will then ask you a simple question about our programs and presenters. If you answer correctly, you instantly win a mega Christmas hamper. But that's not all. You can also respond on social media. The first 20 people to respond to each question on social media will be entered into a draw. And lucky winners will be picked and announced during Bethany Santa Live on Saturdays. Bethany Santa Omugabi, only on Bethany TV for health. Bethany TV for health.
Back to Basics, live on Bethany TV for Health. You're very much welcome. It is always my excitement and my pleasure to host Back to Basics. Like the name says, this is where we get back to basics, understand the principles, and get things right. And then we shall be able to move to live a healthy life. Do not forget that Bethany TV comes your way, live on GoTV, free to air, but also available on different social media platforms. You can also watch live on www.bethanytv.ug. Also, you can join us. You can be part of this engagement and discussion on different mobile applications. We have Afro Mobile app, Your TV, and Airtel TV. It is my honor and my pleasure to have you join and be part of Back to Basics. I know you like this program. I know you love this program, and for those who are watching, you can tell others to join. I wish you all the best as we discuss tonight's program. Very, very much excited. And this evening, I want to introduce this topic earlier than I've always been doing, because this is a situation that either we've experienced or we've seen a friend that has experienced, and specifically, it talks about relationship. Now, to start with, we all know that from the Bible, I can quote that, "For this reason, therefore, a man shall leave his parents and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. That is the natural, and that is God's purpose, and that's the will of God. But however, sometimes circumstances which we shall discuss, dive into in this discussion, they bring a situation whereby after joining, then you separate. Not that you divorce, but you live separately in marriage, where some, or what we can call long distance relationship. And tonight, this evening, we are going to discuss long distance relationship. What are the myths? What are the facts? We'll continue to understand it. And at this point, I'm very excited to welcome our guest this evening. Our guest, she's called Mrs. Diana Ruth Atsasire Manzi.
Thank you for having me, Moses.
Yes,
I'm
Diana.
glad to be here.
Yes, Diana. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And Diana Manzi is a married a woman. She is a mother, and we really don't take this for granted, Diana, for sparing your time, leaving your family, and coming to be part of this discussion. So you're very much welcome, and we are happy to have you on this show. So Diana, very many people are logged in now. They are watching us, they are following, because they love this program. You can go ahead and greet the viewers and listeners. I know they are very much willing to hear your voice.
Okay. Dear viewers, tonight, as you've heard, my name is Mrs. Diana Manzi. I am privileged to be here this evening sharing with a friend of mine, Moses, and I greet you all, and I look forward to sharing what I can about this topic of today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Diana. You know, some of these things that we do, Diana, that we share here, there can be someone out there who is actually, who needs some help, who needs to know something about such content. And Bethany TV, specifically Back to Basics, gives that opportunity for someone to learn one or two things that can help as we live in this life. So that's why we spare time, and that's why I appreciate you when we invited you to come. Now, this evening, we are looking at long distance relationship. And like I started with the Bible verse, whereby naturally, when you get married, you're supposed to be together, live with each other, and do life together, produce kids, and eat together, like do everything together. But there are circumstances that we shall maybe discuss, especially in our society, whereby even when you get married, where you're supposed to be together, then you separate. I mean physically. You may be together emotionally and spiritually, but physically, you find there's a distance created, and we look at some of those. So when we approached you and said, this is the topic that we want to discuss, you accepted first of all, but you also showed passion of wanting to kind of be part of this discussion. To start with, Diana, I'm going to ask you two things. If we are talking about long distance relationship, what do we mean?
Well, long distance relationship or marriage, it means to me that two people are together in a committed relationship. I would like to, I think let's stick to the context of maybe marriage, but even in relationship. Like courtship before marriage. Two people are committed in a relationship together, man and woman, and they are dating, married, but they are, because usually it's work, and they are not living together for long periods of time. Sometimes people live apart for months, sometimes it can be a year or years, or just a few weeks. That's what long distance relationship could mean.
Can a day be if you miss each other for a day and someone goes like for a day and comes back in the evening?
Certainly not. That
2 days?
That would be mocking.
3 days?
No.
A week, like I go on Monday, Friday, come back, and then weekend, and then Monday, and I do it over. Like for a year, like it's like that.
Yeah, still that is some time that should have been spent together every single day, maybe. But that can be a long distance relationship.
That can be a long distance relationship, not one day.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, not one day or 2 days. But if you have to work all week away from your family, it could be because your family could use your presence.
Yeah, that's perfect. So Diana, I was wondering, when we approached you, sometimes there's when you approach someone is like, no, this topic, no, but you first time allowed, accepted to be part and share some experiences. What motivates you to speak about long distance relationship in regard to marriage, like you said, committed relationship?
Okay. Well, first off, I've been in a long distance relationship myself. For months and everything, and also I'm no expert. I didn't come here, I'm not passionate because I'm an expert in this.
Yeah, sure.
Certainly not. I do not want our viewers to be deceived. But I was passionate about it because I could share experience, and also the most important reason why I accepted to share this experience is because when I was just starting off in my long distance marriage, it was it was no one close to me that I could go to and that could relate with me. Nobody that was close to me who I would go to and be like, so how do you do this? If I'm facing this challenge, it was like there's nobody that could relate with me around. And even when I would try to look for certain content, it was usually not from like-minded people. By that I mean maybe Christians or what. So it was not applicable to my life, so it was always like there was a scarcity of what can I say, knowledge or experience out there. And so I was just like, if I can contribute to even just one person who could be going through this and just we share together, it could be helpful. I could be giving back to the person that I was back then.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a very good reason. Definitely your willingness to share experience for the benefit of someone out there who may be in the same situation or who knows someone is in a long distance relationship. I think that's a very noble reason, and that's why we appreciate you, and that's why this program Back to Basics actually becomes more relevant because of reasons like that. So I think again, thank you very much for accepting to come, Diana. So you've mentioned you've ever been in a long distance relationship. I don't know, but it's okay, you can say, would you be vulnerable enough to share how was it like in terms of was it like, I was asking, was it a week, was it a month, was it like, share that experience to bring in, put a long distance relationship into a perspective.
Well, I think I've experienced all those, the weeks, the months. I've been married 5 years now to my husband, my dear husband, and we've been married for 5 years this year. And in the first 3 years of our marriage, it was mainly long distance. You go away for like 3 months and come back for like 1. And so the longest time we were actually apart was when COVID hit and he was locked out of the country. Of course, you know, there were no flights, there was nothing. So it was a whole 9 months apart.
You're lying.
Yes, for real. But
9 months.
But not these people go through years.
But that's a year. You know, when we reach September, we start planning for Christmas, and people are like, Christmas is setting in. So that was a very cool month. 9 months, 9 months was really long, and I must admit that it was the toughest of those. So because I was actually expecting a second child at that time. We were expecting, so that was a bit hard, but God took us through. And then after, when he came back after the 3 years, now we were staying together for a while. Then he got a
a job up country, and so now it would be like 2 weeks away, and which was
Still
great,
long
which
distance,
is great.
but
Yeah, but at least we're in the same country.
Yes, in the same,
Yeah, even if it's far.
the same
but
country where
yeah.
you don't need a visa.
Yes.
If you wake up one day and maybe
and with the family needs
feel
you,
like,
there you are.
at least you can make that journey.
Definitely,
That is more. I think that's a little bit affordable than the 9 months. Wow, I must say that is quite long.
Yeah.
Yes, I also used to have some kind of, I can say long distance, but it was in the same country, and there it's easier.
And how far?
At least
how long? How many?
Not 9 months.
How many?
At least not 9 months. Then.
But suppose those people have 1 year, 3 years. I know someone who has been in a long distance marriage for 3 years without seeing their spouse.
So, but Diana, before we definitely, I would want to know the 9 months and how was life in those 9 months. But before that, I just want to ask you something, and just evaluate if sometimes people, I think, use that kind of thing and to create that distance. If I'm in Kampala and Jinja.
Yeah.
And my work is from Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
From maybe 8 to 5.
Yeah.
And then someone spends a month without visiting or coming to see their family. Would that also be long distance relationship created out of circumstances, or that is kind of an intentional long distance?
No, it could be. Sometimes it depends on different things. Sometimes someone could, by staying a month, they could accumulate more days of work to stay with their family for a longer time instead of just coming for 2 days, which is a weekend, and going back, which can also be costly, the back and forth. So you just can decide as a couple that instead of doing this weekend thing, let me be there for a month, then I can come here for at least a week. The cost of transport. Yeah, the cost of transport, and then the time spent with the family is longer. So it could be an agreement between two people.
Wow, so Jinja Kampala can also qualify to be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, I hear you. Diana, in the 9 months, I think that's
wow.
In the 9 months, if you are just to give us, I know it's a lot that might have happened, but what you used to experience and everything, what are some of the highlights and what you found out about long distance relationship?
Well, I found out that it could be sometimes lonely.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. That's a fact about long distance marriage. It can get lonely. Like sometimes the phones, the video calls and the chats, they're not doing it anymore. You need now someone to. And like I mentioned,
yes.
I was pregnant. That
with
time,
the first
with
child?
the second child.
The second
yeah,
child.
So I had a baby.
So at least you had a baby.
I had a baby who was a few months.
Yes, few months. So the baby was not asking for daddy or something?
No, of course he didn't know really daddy by then.
Yet.
Yeah, so
not yet, yes.
He knew, he had met him of course, but we didn't know him enough. So
yes.
It was a bit lonely, and it was just sometimes just needing that spousal affirmation that I'm here, everything is going to be okay. And then remember, we were in lockdown most of that time when we were apart.
Yeah.
So it was a bit lonely, but again I don't know what else I can say about that time. It's a bit blurry, but
yes, but
it went on fast. Yeah, it was. I can remember that it was lonely, but also it was easy because I rested enough. First of all, I was kind of hiding my second pregnancy, so I enjoyed being just locked up there alone.
Being alone.
Nobody knew what. Yeah. But there was one time, in that time, when I had a little bit of a scare and I needed someone to take me to the hospital, and I could not call anybody because I didn't want anybody to know that I was expecting.
Wow.
So, but I just woke up, I called him, we panicked, I called my doctor, what? But then it was just like, just hang on there till morning, then we'll see it. And thank God it was not an emergency or anything serious.
Yes,
it went well.
Yeah. Wow, it sounds interesting the way you've said it, especially someone who wants time to to herself or himself.
Yeah.
But we know there are natural things that we have that come in, things which are out of our control. Like you're married, there are some of the things you're supposed to enjoy as a married person.
Here we go.
Yes, here we go. And this is where I'm leading.
Can tell.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And just not to miss words.
Yes.
Like sex.
Yeah.
9 months. This is going back to the virgin times, I think.
I can't.
It looks like this is 9 months takes you back to virginity. It is secondary virginity. I don't understand those things, but I know 9 would be much. So my thing is like, sex is very sensitive, and of course it's one of the pillars in marriage.
Yeah.
How in that kind of period, how do you come to the terms that now I can't have it? And as you think about it, to recall maybe what used to happen, I'm going to ask you, we break off very shortly.
Sure, I need that break.
Yes, and then when we come, we start from there.
Yeah.
Because I know someone who is in a long distance relationship is actually experiencing such a challenge. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking about long distance relationship. What are some of the facts? What really happens in there? And definitely we'll see how to agree to the terms. And in the studio I have Diana Manzi, who is a married lady with children. Thank you for joining. For now, let's have a very short break.
Bethany TV for health. Showing on Bethany TV. When you hear the word hormones, what comes to your mind? How do these hormones affect fertility? Which hormones matter in fertility? How about hormone imbalance? What causes hormone imbalance? How do you know you have hormone issues? How do you prevent them? Is there a treatment for hormone issues? These questions and many more this Sunday at 8 p.m. with Dr. Andabati on Medical Minds, only on Bethany TV for health.
I thank you for my life.
Nsima Festival ekomyewo nate nga 17 Disemba 2023 awo mu parking ya National Theatre emiryango gya kugulwawo essaawa 4 ez'okumakya. Tutegese bouncing castle z'abaana, face painting, emizannyo n'omuyimbi ow'olunaku Jean Marie ng'awerekeddwako abayimbi ba gospel bonna. Okuyingira omutwalo gumu abaana, abakulu emitwalo 2, VIP ya mitwalo 5 n'emmeeza y'akakadde kamu kokka. Nsima Festival ekutuusibwako Bethany TV for health. Bethany TV for health.
Welcome back from that short break. I was here in the break chatting with Diana and again reflecting on long distance marriage relationships. Yes, like I said, I also had some spells of long distance. Though, like I was asking, I believe if it's within the country, it's manageable. At least when you cannot control, maybe you can take that bus and move in the night and come and be with your loved ones. But where it's other countries, it might be a little bit tricky. So we are talking about what do we find? What is that experience that people experience when in a long distance marriage relationship? And for the break, I had posed the question about what I can call some of the marriage things that a married couple experience, and that is like sex. So in that period of 9 months, Diana, how did you deal with that kind of challenge?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd mentioned that I was pregnant, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, but you know, the first trimester is really, it's like, it's okay. I can't speak for my husband, but I'll speak for myself on a lady's perspective. In the second trimester, that's when it was a bit tough because, yeah, you start to feel the need. Yeah. So, and we would, how we went about it, the experience was very weird. We used to share, my husband and I are really like open, like friends. We talk, we can talk about anything and everything. And so we used to talk a lot about everything, you know. So this thing is taking long, and the lockdown, we don't know when it's going to open, and how are you feeling over there, how are you handling? And we will just share how we are honestly feel, just to share, knowing that even if you tell this person how you're feeling, they have nothing to do for you physically. So we would just strengthen each other in the Lord and be like, you know, let's just wait, and you know, let's just do this. We will not die. Surely we will not die.
You don't die by
you
that.
really do not die, because man cannot live by that alone. So yeah, we would just strengthen each other.
Strengthen each other. Do you think sharing and constant communication, like when that feeling comes with your spouse, do you think it would help to kind of
much.
Take away, not completely, but help to mitigate that challenge of need for sex and everything? Yeah,
it helps because there's no better person to talk about that with than your spouse. So it really helps, and it's important to talk about it and be open about how you're feeling or how you're not feeling in regards to your sexual needs.
Wow, interesting. And then I know in that period, you know, we have friends, and in a period like that, there are friends who know what's happening in your life, and they know maybe your husband is not there, and you can have a lot of friends who are willing to help. A friend A will maybe come and say, you know, I know what you're going through, and this is what I've made a research, and maybe comes with a brand new dildo, for example. Another friend will come and he say, you know what, these things, this is how they manage them. I have another. You can maybe go out and meet this other man and just have something temporarily. There are other friends who would come and actually give you advice that you see, maybe we can go to church, we can do this and that. In that period, did you get such friends? And honestly, those friends are genuinely coming as friends and trying to help, reaching out to help. So did you face kind of such friends? And in case you did, did you face a dilemma of like, I might lose these genuine friends in case I say no? And how could you handle such to make sure that you've maintained the friendship, but also you've maintained your stand or what you believe in?
You see, you cannot afford to put yourself at a competition with people who have advice that is contrary to what you believe. You cannot say, I'll listen to them or I'll be around them, and then I'll conquer, I'll do what I know to be true. I learned in that moment that it's because I had all those friends that you've mentioned, all those suggestions, people that bring you all this advice or ask you, but how do you really do it? You know, you guys, and then there are all these kinds of memes going around. There's this particular meme where people in a long distance relationship, and the woman is watching TV alone, and the man is somewhere with another lady. Cuddling and watching, and I'll be like, oh my God, wow! Like, you keep, like, the mockery and the myth about that was always disheartening. And then, like, even among groups, like, I will not mention where, but in certain environments, they'll just be like, but that thing doesn't work. I had friends who would tell me to my face that those long distance things do not work, knowing good and well I'm in one, and then I would just be like, okay, and then the ones would come with some crazy naughty suggestions. And it was always like, I get it, they mean well, they probably cannot relate with being faced with such a thing, but I believe that God has given us such ability to adjust to circumstances as they come in life. And we are not animals as human beings. Yes, we have bodies, we have blood, we have flesh, we have temptations, but when you know, I think that's I think for another time, but I just wanted to say about that it is very important what I learned in that moment, to try and surround yourself with people that will encourage you and encourage your walk and encourage you and protect your marriage, keep it protected, both you people, both of you, and you have to want to protect yourself from those people, because there's this verse and I want to read it exactly as it is in Proverbs 11:14. It says, where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. So I think when you're in a long distance relationship, the last thing you should do is to isolate yourself, be alone, or be with people who are talking you down or giving you all kinds of contrary advice to what you believe. So it's very important that you be in a multitude of counselors, like the Bible says, because there is safety. There is safety there. You hear a word of encouragement. You can confide in someone. Not everyone. You don't have to come and dish out all your problems in front of everybody. If it's like a cell group, like a married cell. And so my husband and I made it a point to last year was our resolution. We must join a married cell. We must surround ourselves with people that can, that can walk with us, and let's not do this thing alone. Let's not think we are too wise or that we have everything we need. And we did that, and I can tell you that it blessed us so much, and it helped us to overcome the other things that we had, the advice that we had had.
That's very important, Diana, talking of weighing friends and advices. Yes, because they can come and someone first empathizes with you, and you know what you're going through, and actually even give examples. It also happened to me, and this is how I handle it. And then you find it kind of it's different from what you but then the advice is different from the values that you hold and what you believe in. And so like you're saying, I think it's very important to have that spirit of discernment and know that yes, I hear you, but at the end of the day, it's not that we have to blame other people that are giving you advice. You in your own as a person, you already have your own temptations. You already have your own worries and questions, and so when you're already going through your own things, and then you entertain people that are like don't stress, this thing is how we can do it. You don't have to be too strong. You're not the first one, you're not the last one, all that stuff. It just makes you feel like, by the way, I'm not the first I'm not the last, and it gets you to feel like you're to validate your wrong feelings, which each year can happen to everyone. Diana, social media and I mean the internet and all that related stuff, that literature that we have on social media. How do you evaluate or connect the impact of social media on the long distance decisions that people make?
The impact, well, the impact is both positive and negative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of recent, there's a lady who has come, and I mean, if there are any viewers who are watching her, I followed her, and I wished that when I was starting out in the long distance marriage journey, I had had her kind of content. She's called Pretty Brainy Wife on Instagram and YouTube, and so she has been in a long distance relationship and stuff, and so she shares the story and the experience she has been with her husband in this relationship for 3 years. For 3 years, and we are talking about 9 months.
That's what we're talking about 9, and I'm kind of saying
and
9.
then she takes us through the journey, the purpose of the marriage, of why they made this decision, how they are working, how they are making it work, their hardships, sharing them. She's really being vulnerable with it, and I feel like that's something that is a positive impact in regard to social media. And we need more of those.
We need more of those. Like the way you're sharing, and I'm very sure the experience you're sharing and showing that you remained strong and you protected your family, and here you are now enjoying moving, and that was just a season that passed. I think someone out there also gets the confidence, okay.
Yeah, but however, the negative thing is when you feed so much into social media and you're seeing all these couples, they are together, they are attending functions together, there you are alone, they are going to dinners, they are I mean, it's not that you get jealous, it just reminds you of what you're not able to experience in that moment, and it kind of creates a void, which you should acknowledge and talk to your past. But then, and I think I'll go back now to this positive thing of this lady, what she shares, and they have like cyber dates. You know, she sets up her place, makes it beautiful, brings some roses, some chocolates, the wine, the food, and they talk together and just act like they're on a date physically, but they are worlds apart.
They are virtually on
a date. And I'm just like, that's cool. You know, instead of going and envying other people, what they're having,
are these guys
and yet you're on your path.
Are they Ugandan?
They are Ugandan, very much so. They are Ugandan, yeah. And so I was just looking at it and saying, you know, that's a better way to handle it, because let me tell you, this internet can drive you crazy and can just let you just be, because people who go in long distance relationships, most of the time they have a plan, they have an agreement, they have a strong reason as to why but when you feed into social media so much, can just tell the guy, you know what, come back, let's go, we have dates to go to and everything. And you can just put the person on unnecessary pressure. And
I was imagining the virtual date through Muchiga, that you know what. You alone be just having your
it's either the cyber date or nothing. So you'd rather you can take it. The Muchiga can take it for sure.
It's very interesting, and also I think with the social media, some literature which is misleading. Like giving advice and. You know, there is a lot, if you really don't filter and know this can help, this can't help. Diana, in our society, what do you think mainly causes this kind of long distance relationship?
I think the number one thing is mainly work. Is work, it is work. Someone is presented with an opportunity that is good. You wait, you sit together, you're like, man, this is the opportunity we have at hand. Do you think I can get any opportunity here in the country? And pretty much you wouldn't get that in the country. So you just decide to do the sacrifice and take on the job. I think most times it's really just work. I don't think anyone is like, I need to take some time off for myself and be apart for a while. That doesn't make sense. I think it's usually work and the sacrifice and having a plan and a vision and a timeline that you want to meet. And it's really a sacrifice. And when you both look at it like a sacrifice for your family, for your future, it gives it purpose and it gives you fuel to work together and to work towards that, so that you can be patient with each other and bring it, work together and do what you have to do.
I hear you. After all, even when you remain there looking at each other
and you have nothing,
I tell
you, when you don't have money, you're not
you know, there is this African writer who said the family is, you just know that the family is safe and healthy when every night the bed is shaking. Actually, he said so long as the bed is shaking, you just know that marriage is moving on well. So I don't think if you just want to keep looking at each other because you don't want to be in a long distance relationship and there is no opportunity nearby, it's somewhere far away. I don't think still you can enjoy.
You really can't. You really can't, because the frustrations of life, the lack,
you reach an extent where the woman would say,
it's not even just the woman, even the man. When you don't, because you are meant to provide, and when you can't provide, that really just works you, and you're just now intolerable.
So this woman who wanted you now to be close with certain abaranga bagende ino bakola that's the fact of life anyway. So we conclude that work basically, in most cases, the need for survival, the need to provide for the family, and especially when the opportunity presents not around but a bit far, honestly you find it's maybe out of your control, but to agree and plan as a family.
To agree, very important to agree.
As we plan to conclude our show, Diana, if I'm to ask you, before we look at generally what are some of the tips, what are some of the things we can do to manage. To manage. But if I may ask you, from your experiences, what are some of the facts and like the truth that you kind of said, from my experience, this is true about long distance relationship?
True things. Well, the number one truth is that it is not easy. Okay. It's not easy, but it can be rewarding. That's a truth. It can be rewarding together, another truth is that
rewarding, it's a very important thing that you've brought about rewarding. Rewarding in terms of what? In terms of money, in terms of I see their trust.
Even appreciating. Sometimes when you have something there all the time, sometimes you can really think that it's okay. It's like, it's just good, But when you're away from each other, there's a way that you learn to value one another in a deeper way. There's a way you learn each other's value. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I can put it really well, but that is rewarding in that way. And it can make your hearts fonder. You know what they say about distance? That there's that saying that distance makes the heart grow fonder, something like that. So it can do that, which is a good thing. And sometimes marriages are even restored when they have a little bit of distance, because sometimes you're just in each other's space too much, and when you get a little bit of time, you just start to miss your person. You start to say,
I remember in COVID, I
don't have food. Now I would go home and my wife would give me food.
I remember in COVID stories that were coming about how families are fighting,
how families are breaking up, families even broke up because it's just like, you can't stand this person one more time. They are nagging you all the time. But still, it's not a bad thing to be nagged by your spouse.
And I also think after like the 9 months and or the 1 year or the 2 years, and then someone comes and you're still together, I think it builds a very, very great foundation.
Also, when you see what you've been working for coming to fruition, it's rewarding in that way. When it's like, you're not just working for nothing. This is what we are able. It's rewarding, and I think that people who are in long distance relationships should. And now I'm crossing over to the question that's coming next, but let me just say it now because I'll forget. It's when you take that time apart, I think it's important to reward yourselves as a couple, and you say, we work so hard. Let's have a getaway. Let's do something nice for each other. Let's spoil each other. Let's get time, quality time. You know what I'm saying? There are no kids. There are no what. Get away if you can. Go out of the country. It's fine. If you can go here, there are so many beautiful places in Uganda you can go to. Have some quality time, talk, and do all that married people business, Moses, that you love to talk about.
Surely. I love talk about sex. Those are very important things. And any other truth or any myth now?
The myth is that the number one myth is people that have is that they don't work. Is there a moment you go on that route? Now, this is true. It can happen, but it can also happen to people who are what?
Who are
together. You get. So you cannot say that it cannot work. It depends. If two people want to make it work, they can make it work. And also, like, we don't work in our own strength as Christians when we depend on God. Psalms 91, I love it so much. I've been dwelling on it a lot lately, and it says that those that dwell in the shelter of the Almighty shall abide in the shall rest in the shadow of the Most High. So rest, that word is so important. It's like you're not trying to make it work. It's like, it's not my role. Like, it's not solely my role to make this thing work. I am leaning on God. I am resting in God. And He is able to give us the courage and the grace to carry us day by day. Yes. Yeah.
I agree. Thank you for that verse. It's a very strong one, and I think it encourages, especially for someone who's out there and you are in a long distance relationship, 1 month, 2 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. Please, sometimes these things you have to let God do His work, and all will be fine. So then, as we conclude, generally, from your experience, how can we? What are some of the things that one can do to mitigate some of these challenges? Because the facts, like you say, the truth is, yes, you miss each other. There's loneliness. You have desires, bodily desires, like sex and the physical touches. There are those who have their love languages as physical touch. Now, this is virtual.
I can't relate to that, but
yes, but you understand what I'm talking about. And looking at each other. There's quite a lot that marrieds enjoy really by being together, and there's a lot of non-touch exchanges that they can enjoy now. All those things, you miss them. So not putting them to the dustbin, appreciating that those are challenges, like they are there, but you still survive, you still go through it and build your family stronger. What are some of the things from your experience that one can do in order to overcome and mitigate such?
The number one thing I'd remember to really talk about is prayer. Remaining prayerful, remaining in God, I can't even overemphasize that, because really it's like God is the one who does the most part. So you must remain rooted in God, in the Word of God, in prayer, fasting as an individual, as a couple. I remember I would pray together. I would sometimes fast together on days, or break the fast together, pray like about different things, or share together. Maybe someone had this and they share with me on Sunday when you went to church. How was the service? What did they talk about? What, so we praying together and individually, for yourselves and for each other, and covering your whole union in prayer. It's the fuel for that road, which is not very easy.
That's true.
And so good and frequent communication, because I can't just say communication, it must be frequent. It's very, like, as how we have handled really is just to talk through the day. We are chatting on the phone. What's up? Have you had lunch? Where are you going? I watched this thing, sharing this meme, just being each other, and also communicating properly. You see, when you're not together, you know that your phone is going to black out. You told your person you're going to go somewhere, they are calling you, there's nothing. So now this person, this side, is going to get crazy. So who are they with? Why are they not talking? Why is their phone off? Why couldn't they tell me? So you have to talk about everything. If I'm here, my phone's about to black out, I'll go and charge, I'll call you at this time. You must communicate very clearly and very well. And it's just that's the only way it's going to work. Otherwise it causes a lot of strife to not know. So keeping good and godly company, I think I already explained that. Making sure you're in a multitude of counselors. Keep busy. Don't leave room for idleness, keeping busy, work with your hands. If you
An idle mind is a
an idle
devil's
mind
workshop.
is really the devil's workshop. You must find ways to not just work, but also recreational ways. You have to have friends apart from your spouse.
Yeah.
You can go out, you go for dinners, go for girls' day, girls' night, what? Just some good fun that is going to bring you, and like, go to work, there's sisterhood, you're there, there is what? You're there serving the church, if you can. Yeah, you should. And then like keep busy, work, go to work, maybe you do business. If you don't work, find something that's going to keep your mind off your spouse who is busy, and you're just there seated.
You're just there seated.
Waiting for what the next step is going to give you. That's an unrealistic.
Idleness,
yes,
which
that's
will
an unrealistic
make you think
things
that
it can only go wrong.
You.
Yeah, idleness is definitely not in the plan for long distance relationship.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Recipe for disaster.
Wow. That's very interesting, Dan, and thank you for sharing. I know this discussion can continue and continue and continue, but our time is well spent. Any last ones to the viewers and listeners as we conclude?
My last words to the viewers, I'm so happy to be here and share the little experience that I have acquired over the years in this particular thing. I would encourage you, if you're in a long distance relationship, to reach out to people who are either in the same situation. Be plugged in a married cell. In Watoto, we have married cells. You can always go to the cell table and make sure that you're planted in one. And there's something I wanted to say about
a prayer.
No, not a prayer. Not yet. I mean, I wanted to say that. Anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be long. Let me just let me say that. Just be intentional. Okay, the thing I wanted to say was about coming together as a couple. Make sure that you're sure you know, like you have a time limit. It's not like the person's just there, let's work, when I finish, when I what, we will see that from there. No, there has to be a plan, there has to be an expectation where you're like, we're doing this for this many years, and this is what we're trying to achieve, and so that you keep each other, you keep hopeful, that this is not going to be forever, because it can
indefinite long distance.
Yes, it can be so draining to have to not know where the journey is.
True.
And also share the exact, be transparent. Where am I going for this job? How much am I, and is it really worth me? So that the person you give room for the other party to be like, this job is worth it, or it's not that worth it, let's leave it, So like being transparent and sharing why it is important that you have to go away and be in a long distance relationship. Like share everything down to the last bit, and that will help you to stay on course and to be joyful while at it, and not just be the one who is burdening the other person. I think those are my parting shots.
Wow. Thank you very much, Diana. I must say thank you very much for your time. I know you've left your little ones at home.
They're sleeping. They are well.
Yes, sleeping. So we don't take this for granted. Thank you for sharing all these experiences, and you never know, someone out there has benefited, and that's how the world is supposed to be. So I thank you very much for sharing that experience. And to our viewers and listeners, we do appreciate all of you for listening in and watching us. And we've been talking about long distance relationship. These are some of the things we may not avoid, but when it comes, how do you deal with them to make sure that your marriage, your relationship remains on a straight line? And from Diana's experience, has really shared some very good tips. I won't repeat them, but I must say that wherever you are, you must have benefited. Get one or two and keep hooked to Bethan TV. We have very many programs, and this Back to Basics really brings out things in our community, in our society, that really are affecting us, and we try to discuss them, and together we look at how do we mitigate, how do we live amidst some of those challenges. And that's why we are Bethan, and that's why this is Back to Basics. From me, Moses, your host, and our guest tonight has been Mrs. Diana Ruth Atsasi Manzi, who is married with children and stably moving on. So thank you very much. and we wish you all the best. See you Monday.